Padre Pio used to say something that almost nobody talks about anymore. He said there are dates when heaven leans closer to earth, days when grace finds less resistance, days when prayer cuts through faster. February 5th, St. Agatha's Day, one of those rare portals, especially for women, because there are mornings when a woman wakes up tired, not just the body, the soul, tired of fighting alone, of swallowing tears, of holding up the house, the kids, the marriage, the faith, all at the same time, and still smiling like everything's fine. St. Agatha wasn't a saint of pretty words. She wasn't a saint of speeches. She was a saint in the flesh, in pain, in silence, in faithfulness until the very end. A young woman, fragile in the world's eyes, but unshakable inside. And that's exactly why, in the spiritual tradition of the Church, St. Agatha came to be seen as one of the saints most feared by hell. Not because she shouted, but because she didn't give in. Padre Pio had a deep devotion to her. He said every Catholic woman should do 3 things on St. Agatha's Day, not out of superstition, but for real spiritual protection. Protection of the soul, of the body, of the family. Listen carefully. Don't skip ahead, because the 3rd one is the strongest. And if you rush past it, you might lose the most important grace of this day. Before I tell you about those 3 things, I need to ask you something. If you're watching this and you feel like you're carrying weight that's too heavy, if you're tired of fighting battles nobody sees, if you need heaven to bend down close to you today, write this in the comments with faith. St. Agatha, protect me and those I love. Don't just read it, write it. The spiritual world pays attention to acts of faith. And if this message is reaching your heart, subscribe to this channel. Join this army of prayer. We're not here for entertainment. We're here for souls. Now, let's talk about why St. Agatha's Day isn't just another date on the calendar, and why Padre Pio took this so seriously. Before we get to the 3 things every Catholic woman must do on St. Agatha's Day, we need to stop. Stop completely. Breathe. Because you can't understand the power of this day without understanding who this woman was. And I'm warning you right now, St. Agatha's story isn't comfortable. It's not one of those stories you hear with a smile. It's one of those that tightens your chest but wakes your soul. St. Agatha was born in Sicily in the 3rd century, young, beautiful, wealthy, but above all, free on the inside. From a very young age, she decided something that few women had the courage to decide back then. My body and my life belong to Christ. It wasn't a pretty speech. It was a real vow. At a time when women were seen as property. A Roman governor, powerful, used to getting everything he wanted, became enchanted with her. It wasn't love, it was desire. And when Agatha said no, hell rose up against her. She was arrested, humiliated, tortured. They tried to break her faith through her body. And here's a detail almost never mentioned. Agatha was afraid. She wasn't made of stone. She trembled, but she didn't turn back. In one of the cruelest tortures, her body was mutilated. And even then, she said something that echoes in heaven to this day. I'm not a slave to men. I'm a servant of Christ. In prison, wounded, bleeding, abandoned, Christ appeared to her and healed her. Not so she could escape, but so she could remain faithful until the end. St. Agatha died young, without marrying, without children, without applause. And yet, centuries later, her name is spoken by women all over the world when their bodies hurt, when their souls grow tired, when their dignity is attacked. Now, do you understand why? Padre Pio used to say that St. Agatha is a spiritual sentinel for women. He stated that the demon hates this saint because she protects what's most attacked today, the female body, the purity of the heart, and the courage to say no. That's why, before I reveal the 3 things, I'm telling you with complete sincerity, St. Agatha's Day isn't religious folklore. It's a day of silent spiritual warfare. The enemy knows what this day means. When a woman decides to honor St. Agatha, she's declaring war. She's saying, I won't negotiate my dignity, I won't surrender my body, I won't abandon my faith. And that terrifies hell, because throughout history, the enemy's greatest victories have come through making women believe they're powerless, through shame, through silence. St. Agatha shattered that lie with her own blood, and Padre Pio knew it. He saw how many women carried wounds they'd never named, how many were bleeding internally and pretending everything was fine. That's why he insisted on these three things, not as religious ritual, but as spiritual medicine. Now, with this in your heart, let's talk about the first thing every Catholic woman must do on St. Agatha's Day. First thing, offer your own pain without spiritual makeup. St. Agatha didn't pretend it didn't hurt. She offered what hurt. On her day, the Catholic woman is called to do the same, not to hide suffering behind pretty phrases, but to take what bleeds, rejection, illness, humiliation, fear, loneliness, and surrender it to God with first and last name. Padre Pio used to say that offered pain becomes intercession. What wounds you today can save someone tomorrow. There's a woman I know, Sarah, from Texas, abandoned by her husband after 23 years. She woke up one morning and he was gone. Just a note on the kitchen table. For months she walked through her house like a ghost, smiled at church, posted Bible verses online. But at night, alone in that bed that was now too big, she wanted to die. Not dramatically. Just stop existing. Stop hurting. Then St. Agatha's Day came. Sarah knelt in her living room, and instead of praying a pretty prayer, she said the truth. St. Agatha, I can't take this anymore. I feel like trash. I'm so angry I can barely breathe, but I'm not going to lose my faith. She cried until there were no tears left. She offered that abandonment, that rage, that shame. 3 days later, Sarah woke up and the weight was still there, but it wasn't crushing her anymore. She could breathe. It wasn't magic. It was grace. Because here's what most people don't understand about spiritual pain. Hiding it doesn't make it holy. God doesn't need your pain wrapped in religious language. He wants it raw. He wants the truth. St. Agatha didn't say, Lord, I offer this suffering with joy and gratitude. She said, I'm not a slave. I'm yours. Even if it kills me. That's the prayer of someone who's done pretending. Take that thing you've been carrying in silence, the diagnosis you haven't told anyone about, the addiction you're ashamed of, the abortion you can't forgive yourself for, the marriage that's dying, the child who won't speak to you, the depression that makes every morning feel like climbing a mountain. Take it, name it, and offer it. Not because it'll disappear immediately, but because offered pain has power that hidden pain doesn't. Padre Pio knew this better than anyone. He carried the wounds of Christ in his own body for 50 years, bleeding, aching, every single day. People would ask, Padre, how do you bear it? He'd say, I don't bear it, I offer it. Bearing pain alone makes you bitter. Offering pain with faith makes you a co-redeemer with Christ. Friends, if St. Agatha's story is touching your heart, if you're hungry to discover the greatest weapon Padre Pio used every single day, I've prepared something special for you. It's called The Power of the Rosary with Padre Pio, Miracles, Protection, and Divine Graces. This isn't just another prayer book, it's a spiritual arsenal. Inside, you'll learn how to pray the rosary with deeper devotion and real understanding, not just reciting words, but engaging in spiritual warfare. You'll discover the actual miracles and testimonies of people who've already experienced its power, real stories, real lives changed. You'll learn Padre Pio's most impactful teachings about prayer, the secrets he shared with his spiritual children. You'll receive a 30-day prayer guide with daily intentions to strengthen your faith one day at a time. And you'll get access to special prayers for protection, healing, and liberation, prayers Padre Pio himself used. The rosary was Padre Pio's great weapon, not a nice idea, his actual weapon. When demons appeared in his cell, when spiritual attacks came in the night, when he was drowning in the suffering of others, what did he reach for? The rosary. And today, it can be yours too. Don't miss this chance to strengthen your spiritual life with material that's already helped thousands of people around the world. To download it, just click the link pinned in the comments below. Now let's talk about the second thing. Consecrate your body and soul with concrete prayer. St. Agatha teaches us that the body is also a place of prayer. Padre Pio insisted on this. No generic prayer. On St. Agatha's Day, pray with consciousness. Touch your own chest. Pray for your breasts, your womb, your mind, your history. Ask for protection against disease, abuse, thoughts of death, self-contempt. Use holy water if you can. The spiritual world takes gestures seriously. Now I know what some of you are thinking. That sounds uncomfortable. I don't pray like that. I understand. We've been taught to pray with our hands folded and our eyes closed. But St. Agatha's prayer is different. It's the prayer of a woman whose body became a battlefield. Maybe you've fought cancer. Maybe you've survived assault. Maybe you've carried pregnancies that ended too soon. Maybe you've looked in the mirror and hated what you saw. St. Agatha knows, and she's telling you your body isn't your enemy. It's the temple of the Holy Spirit. So here's how you do it. If you have holy water, bless yourself first. Feel the coolness on your fingertips. Trace the cross slowly on your forehead, your lips, your heart. If you don't have holy water, that's okay. God hears the intention of the heart. Stand before a crucifix or an image of Mary, or even just face a window where light comes through. Let the light touch your face. And then, with your own hands, touch your body as you pray. Place your hand over your heart and say, St. Agatha, I consecrate my heart to Christ. Protect it from bitterness, from hardness, from despair. Let it beat with his love, not with my fear. Place your hands over your chest and say, St. Agatha, I consecrate my body to Christ. You who suffered mutilation and remained whole in spirit, protect me from disease, from violation, from the lies that tell me I'm not enough. Let this body be a vessel of grace, not a source of shame. If you're a mother, place your hands over your womb and say, St. Agatha, I consecrate my fertility, my children, my motherhood to Christ. Whether I've given birth or miscarried, whether I've raised children or mourned them, whether I've chosen this path or walked it in pain, protect this sacred space. Let no evil touch what belongs to God. Place your hands on your head and say, St. Agatha, I consecrate my mind to Christ. Protect me from thoughts of death, from the voice that tells me to give up, from the memories that won't stop haunting me. Let my thoughts be captive to Christ, not to my torment. This isn't superstition. This is spiritual warfare, because the enemy has spent centuries trying to make women hate their own bodies, through abuse, through objectification, through shame that starts so young, most women can't even remember when it began. And St. Agatha stands in the gap and says, no, this body is holy, this body belongs to God. I know a woman named Maria from Ireland who did this prayer on St. Agatha's Day 3 years ago. Maria had cervical cancer. The prognosis wasn't good. She was terrified, not just of dying, but of the treatment, of losing parts of herself, of being seen as broken. On St. Agatha's Day, she knelt in her bedroom, trembling, and prayed over every part of her body that was about to be cut, burned, poisoned by medicine. She said, St. Agatha, you know what this is like. Don't let me lose myself. Don't let this disease win. The cancer responded faster than doctors expected. The side effects were milder than they should have been. And throughout it all, Maria felt a peace she couldn't account for. She told me, I think St. Agatha carried me. When I consecrated my body to her, she took on part of the weight. Maria is alive today, and she still prays this consecration every year. Because once you've named your body as holy ground, you don't go back to treating it like dirt. St. Agatha's message is this: you're not just a soul trapped in a body. You're a unified person, body and soul, made in the image of God, and every part of you is worth protecting. Padre Pio knew this. His hands bled for 50 years, and still he said Mass. Still he blessed people. He never hid his wounds. He consecrated them, and that's what St. Agatha's Day invites you to do. Take the parts of yourself you've been ashamed of and give them to God, not to be fixed, but to be consecrated. Now the third thing, this is the one that changes everything. Third thing, make a courageous decision. St. Agatha didn't negotiate her faith, and Padre Pio said something that still echoes in my mind every time I think about this. Hell fears women who decide, not women who think about it, not women who plan to someday, women who decide right now, today, on this day when heaven is leaning close. Choose to go back to confession. Decide to leave a situation that's destroying you. Choose to forgive or choose to walk away. Commit to respecting yourself. It doesn't need to be big in the world's eyes, but it needs to be true before God. Listen to me carefully, because this is where the real battle happens. The enemy doesn't mind if you pray. He doesn't mind if you light candles or wear medals or go to Mass every Sunday. What terrifies him is the moment you make the call. Because indecision is his territory. Indecision keeps you paralyzed, keeps you trapped, keeps you bleeding out slowly while telling yourself you're fine. But a decision, a real choice, that's where the power is. St. Agatha made her decision when she was young. My body and my life belong to Christ. She could have negotiated. The governor would have given her wealth, status, protection. All she had to do was say yes. But she chose her path. And that choice echoed through her torture, through her imprisonment, through her death, and straight into eternity. Her no to evil and her yes to Christ are still protecting women today. Because decisions made in faith don't die. They become weapons for those who come after. So what decision is God asking you to make today? Maybe it's time to leave that relationship that's been poisoning you for years. You know the one, where you keep telling yourself, but I've invested so much time. But what will people think? But maybe if I just try harder. St. Agatha is looking at you and saying, choose. Or maybe it's time to go back to confession. You've been carrying something for so long, you've almost gotten used to the weight. That abortion 20 years ago, that affair that ended but left you feeling like damaged goods, that lie you told that destroyed someone's reputation. You've convinced yourself God couldn't possibly forgive that. But St. Agatha is whispering, walk back to him. He's been waiting. Or maybe it's time to forgive someone, not because they deserve it, but because carrying that hatred is killing you from the inside. Your mother who abandoned you, your father who abused you, the friend who betrayed you. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you're not going to let them keep destroying you. Commit to letting it go. Or maybe, and this is the hardest one, maybe it's time to forgive yourself for the ways you've failed, for the person you were before you knew better, for being human. I know a woman, Catherine, from England, self-harming since age 14, cutting, burning, starving. By 30, her arms were covered in scars, and her relationship with food was so broken she couldn't remember what normal felt like. She'd tried everything. Nothing stuck. Then, St. Agatha's Day came. Catherine, exhausted from fighting herself every single day, made a choice. She said out loud, alone in her apartment, St. Agatha, I decide today that my body is not my enemy. I will not hurt myself anymore. I don't know how, but I decide. Help me keep this. She threw away her blades, called her sister, said, I need help. I can't do this alone. It wasn't easy after that. There were nights she wanted to go back, but the decision held. It's been 4 years now. Catherine still has scars, but she doesn't make new ones. She tells people, I didn't just stop hurting myself. I chose to belong to God. And once you make that choice, really make it, hell loses its power. That's what Padre Pio meant. Hell fears women who decide, because a woman who's chosen is no longer negotiating. She's not listening to the lies anymore. She's not entertaining the compromise. She's planted her flag and said, "This is who I am. This is whose I am, and you can't have me." The decision you make on St. Agatha's Day doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else. It just has to be real. Maybe your choice is, I'm going to stop pretending I'm okay when I'm not. I'm going to ask for help. I'm going to protect my children, even if it costs me everything. I'm going to stop hating my body. I'm going to tell the truth finally after all these years. Whatever it is, say it out loud. Write it down. Tell someone you trust. Make it real. Because the spiritual world doesn't respond to good intentions. It responds to decisions. St. Agatha decided and became a saint. Padre Pio decided and carried the wounds of Christ for 50 years. Mary said, "Let it be done to me," and became the Mother of God. Every saint started with a choice. So what will you choose today? You know what it is. You've known for a while. St. Agatha is standing with you. Padre Pio is interceding, and God is waiting. Decide and watch what happens next. Now, before we finish, I want to give you something practical. So here's how you observe St. Agatha's Day. Wake up with intention. Before your feet touch the floor, make the sign of the cross and say, "St. Agatha, I give you this day. Help me walk it with courage." Then find a quiet moment. Light a candle if you can. Do the 3 things. First, offer your pain. Name it. Say it out loud or write it down. Don't sugarcoat it. Second, consecrate your body. Touch your heart, your chest, your womb, your head. Ask St. Agatha to protect what the world has tried to destroy. Third, make your decision. Say it out loud. Tell someone who will hold you accountable. Throughout the day, whisper her name. St. Agatha, pray for me. If you can, fast in some small way. Skip one meal. Offer that sacrifice for a specific intention. In the evening, review the day. Where did you feel grace? Where did St. Agatha show up? St. Agatha's Day starts something. It doesn't end it. The grace is there. The protection is real, but you have to keep showing up, and this is critical. St. Agatha's image in your home is your shield. But the rosary is your sword. Padre Pio didn't just pray the rosary, he weaponized it. When demons appeared in his cell at night, scratching at the walls, when spiritual attacks came so strong he couldn't breathe, when he was drowning in the sins and suffering of the people who came to him for confession, what did he reach for? The rosary. Not because it was a nice tradition, because it worked. He called it the weapon, and he said something that changed my life when I first heard it. The rosary is the weapon for these times. Not for those times, for these times. Right now, today, in the world you're living in, where anxiety is crushing people, where marriages are falling apart, where children are losing their faith before they even understand it, where women are being told their bodies are objects, their pain doesn't matter, their voices don't count. The rosary is the weapon, but most Catholics don't know how to use it. They pray it out of duty, not power. Half distracted, checking phones between decades. Padre Pio prayed the rosary like a soldier loading a rifle, with focus, with intention. And he saw miracles, healings, conversions, demons fleeing, not sometimes, constantly, because he knew how to pray it. That's why I created the Power of the Rosary with Padre Pio. Miracles, protection, and divine graces. Inside, you'll discover everything Padre Pio taught, the secrets, the specific ways to pray it for protection, healing, liberation. There's a 30-day guide with daily intentions, special prayers Padre Pio himself used, real testimonies of lives transformed, marriages saved, addictions broken, children who came back to the faith, cancers that disappeared, depression that lifted after years. Not magic. The rosary. Use the right way. Listen to me. You can light all the candles you want, wear all the medals, go to Mass every Sunday, but if you're not praying the rosary, you're fighting with one hand tied behind your back. And the enemy knows it. He's terrified of the rosary. That's why he works so hard to make you forget about it, to make it seem boring. Because he knows what happens when a woman picks up her rosary and actually means it. Hell loses, every single time. So don't go into battle unarmed. The power of the rosary with Padre Pio is waiting for you. The link is pinned in the comments. Download it now, and let's finish this fight together. Now, before we end, I'm going to ask you to do something as an act of faith. Write in the comments the name of a woman who needs St. Agatha's intercession today. It can be you, your mother, your sister, your daughter. Someone suffering in silence. Just type St. Agatha, protect, and then the name. Because when we speak names before the saints, something happens in the spiritual realm. Prayers are heard, angels are dispatched, grace moves. St. Agatha sees, Padre Pio intercedes, and God acts, often in silence. So write the name, do it now before you move on. This is spiritual warfare, and your comment is a weapon. And if this message has touched your heart, subscribe to this channel. Join this army of prayer. We're not here for entertainment, we're here for souls. We're here to remind you that you're not alone in this fight, that the saints are real, the spiritual world is real, and the battle for your soul is very, very real. But so is the victory, and you're invited to it. Now, may St. Agatha cover you with her mantle of protection. May she give you her courage, the kind of courage that doesn't shout but doesn't bend. May she teach you that your no to evil and your yes to Christ are worth more than all the applause, all the approval, all the comfort this world could ever offer you. May she stand with you in every moment you feel alone, every night you can't sleep, every time you look in the mirror and hate what you see. May she remind you that your body is a temple, your pain has purpose, and your decision today matters for eternity. And may the God who gave her strength, who appeared to her in that prison cell, who crowned her with glory after her suffering, do the same for you. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.